Okay, we're going to carry out our first part of the experiment. Test acids with litmus paper. Step 1. Place a piece of blue and a piece of red litmus paper on a piece of white towel. So we're going to do this. Place a blue piece of litmus paper and a white piece of litmus paper on the white towel. Next, use a dropper to add a drop of hydrochloric acid to both litmus paper. Record your observation and repeat step 1 and step 2 using ethanoic acid. Now, over here I have hydrochloric acid and ethanoic acid. So what you're going to do is carefully drop a drop of acid to each of the towel and see what happens. The blue has turned into pink. How about this dilute hydrochloric acid? You're going to do the same thing. So place another blue, another pink, and do the same thing. Not too much, 1 drop will do. See what happened? Now, record your observation. Hydrochloric turns blue litmus paper to pink. Blue to red. And red litmus paper remain the same, no change. And write the same thing for ethanoic acid. Turns blue to red. And for the red litmus, no change. Now in the second experiment, these are the items you need to have. White towel, universal indicator, both liquid and the paper form, both hydrochloric and ethanoic acid, and a rack of field test tube. Now let's look at the question. This part of the experiment requires us to test acids with universal indicator solution and paper. Place a piece of universal indicator paper and drop of universal indicator solution on a piece of white towel. Use a dropper to add a drop of hydrochloric acid onto the paper and the solution. Record your observation and repeat the steps for ethanoic acid. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the towels here and the paper. First of all, I need to test for the hydrochloric acid. One drop of hydrochloric acid. The color has changed into purple. Now, I need to use this indicator chart and tally with the color. What color does it belongs to? Seems like it's closest to 6. It's more like more of a brownish instead of purplish. Okay, it's acid. It should be less than 7. So I think it's around 6 if it's brown in color. Now let's use the solution. Universal indicator solution to test this out. What I need to do is place a little bit of universal indicator into a test tube. Right, a little amount like this will do. and drop a little bit, 2 drops of hydrochloric acid, and I shake it. See, the color has changed, similar to the one on the paper. Now, I'll bring this chart back and compare again. What's pH is hydrochloric acid. The solution is more accurate. It's red in color. So instead of 6, which look a little bit by brown, it's actually 4. So final answer, pH 4 is the pH level for hydrochloric acid. Next, I'm going to test on the dilute ethanoic acid. So again, I place a piece of universal indicator on the towel and drop a bit of ethanoic acid. You realize there's not much change in the color. Let's take a look at this. It seems like it's between 6 and 6.5. To confirm this, we use the universal indicator solution instead. Take out a test tube, place some indicator solution in it. A small amount like this will do, and use this dropper to insert a small amount of ethanoic acid. 1 drop will do. Now, let's compare. This is a bit brownish as compared to the previous one. It is not red, but it's a bit brownish. So it should be around here, 5.5. I think it's between 6 and 5.5, but I take it as 5.5. So back to the workbook. For hydrochloric acids, previously on the paper it shows pH 6 to me, but on the solution it actually has a color of pH 4.0. But for ethanoic acid, again on the paper I thought it was pH 6, but when I use the solution it shows me a color of pH 5.5. Okay, in this activity we're going to test the action of acid with base. Base refers to alkaline. First step, add 2 cm³ of hydrochloric acid to a test tube. So what we're going to do is take out a test tube and add 2 cm³ of hydrochloric acid in the test tube. So I'll take a test tube and add about 2 cm³. 2 cm³ is about this amount at the tip of the test tube here. Okay, next, add a few drops of universal indicator into the test tube. Record the change in color and check the color of the universal indicator from the color chart. After that, universal indicator, drop a bit and see the color change. Now, next, check with this. What color is this? pH 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to record dilute hydrochloric acid. Universal indicator indicates that it is red and it's pH 4. Now, add sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is alkaline. Drop by drop, Please circle this word, drop by drop, into the test tube and keep adding it until the universal indicator turns green. So what we're going to do here is take the sodium hydroxide this is sodium hydroxide and add 1 small little drop to the acid. Then it's still red in color, so second drop, still red, third, fourth, 6. So I continued then following the steps and realized that the solution has turned green in color. Once it reaches green in color, I stop. And now once it reaches about this green in color, I stop. That shows that I have reached a neutral state. So how many drops do I need in order to reach a neutral state? Please indicate the number of drops accordingly. Repeat the steps for dilute sulfuric acid, white vinegar, and lemon juice. Now in this activity, we're going to test the action of acid with magnesium. And magnesium is a kind of metal. Write the word metal. Now in this experiment, we're going to add 2 cm³ of acids to a test tube, and we're going to place a small piece of magnesium ribbon metal in the test tube. Insert a burning spleen at the mouth of the test tube and record your observation. Repeat step 1 and 4 for the other acids. I'm going to demonstrate and show you how this is done. First of all, 2 cm³ of hydrochloric acid into the test tube. So around there. Next, insert a small piece of magnesium ribbon into the acid and observe what happened. You see lots of bubbles were produced. Okay, next, what you're going to do is use your thumb to close the opening to avoid the gas from releasing out of the test tube. Next, I'm going to turn on the Bunsen burner. Make sure my air holes are closed. Turn on the tap. On the flame. Don't forget, continue to close the opening of the test tube. Now, a burning spleen looks like this with a flame on it. This is a burning spleen. This is a lighted spleen. So I'm going to repeat. We need a burning spleen. Insert the flame into the test tube. Do you hear the sound? Let's try it again. Burning flame. Finish quickly, turn off the flame. Back to the book, and I write down my observation. For hydrochloric acid, observation for magnesium, First one is gas bubbles form. And then when you insert the burning spleen, you hear a pop sound. Okay? When a burning spleen is inserted. Now, for the next activity, we're going to test the action of acid with carbonate. You need to add 2 cm³ of hydrochloric acid in a test tube. Prepare the lime water as in the diagram. Put a few pieces of eggshells, but over here I'm going to use carbonate, into the acid. Place a stopper into the tube in the mouth of test tube. Bubble the gas produced through lime water as shown. These are the items I need: lime water, hydrochloric acid, carbonate, a boiling tube with a delivery tube, and a test tube. Okay, what I'm going to do first is prepare my lime water. So I insert about 1/3 of the test tube of lime water, as what's shown here, and insert here. Next, I'm going to put a little bit of acid into the boiling tube. About this amount will do. I'm going to place some carbonate into the acid. You see what happened? Bubbles are formed again. Is this the same type of gas as what we have previously? Let's try. Now what I'm going to do is cover this boiling tube quickly the moment I throw in some sodium carbonate, and keep shaking to produce more gas, and send the gas to this lime water. Now take a look. Previously the lime water is colorless and clear. Be careful when you do this, because if you jerk it too hard, you may poke through the test tube and break the test tube easily. Do you see bubbles forming in the lime water? That means I'm delivering the gas to this lime water. Let it still come to a standstill for a while in order to observe the gas bubble form in the lime water. Again, be careful. Do not jerk the test tube too much. After a few seconds, what happened to the lime water? The lime water has turned into white precipitate. It turns chalky. White precipitate is formed in the lime water. So, I'll write down my answer. For dilute hydrochloric acid, what happens if I place carbonate in it? Again, gas bubbles form and produce white precipitate in lime water, meaning it turns chalky.